my son is sleeping now. He's been up since 4 a.m., so he almost made it to trick-or-treating. Julie's out with Scarlett, so I'm over here passing out candy. I was going to start, but then a group of kids came. So I wanted to pass out the candy real quick just so that the kids could get it. But I definitely wanted to do a technical analysis before the weekend. And, maybe we'll get interrupted here a couple of times. Hopefully, if, people make their way down to this side of the neighborhood. But welcoming everybody. For whatever reason, the touchscreen that I had, those cheap pieces of crap, even though they're not cheap, it just stopped working, which is the only problem with having those rolling stupid TVs. So I just put it back on my TV so I can see. And this is probably what I should have just done it from the beginning anyhow. Now I can just see the comments on there, and it's a much bigger screen anyhow. So Crypto Cooter, welcome in. Shane, good evening. And thanks for being in town on 3+ months with the XP Media, along with Mike B. Puente, welcome in. Damon, good evening. Frankie Fresh, I will try to get to everybody, but I want to do this analysis as well. I might open this door a little bit. Yeah. Do that analysis so that I can actually see what's going on behind me. So, good evening, as I said. What we need to look at here going into the weekend is in 2 minutes, the XRP futures is going to close, the CME. So I want to see where it's at. Right now, we are well under that 257 in the regular price, which is awesome, which means we've got some appreciation to have. And we very well could do it over the weekend. We should be melting up to about $2.62 or so. And that doesn't mean, hey, just go in, do a leverage trade, do this and that. But it does seem like we've got a nice little gap area from where even the CME is closing, as well as where we're at right now in the price action. So I'm pretty happy with all of this. I like the way that we're setting up. I really like the image that I used for the live today. I don't know how many of you caught it, but I really like this image. And it has Ripple, sprinkled in there. It's got XRP and yada yada. And you can see the AI even when it makes its mistakes trying to do the proper spelling. But there's a lot of code in there. And it only shows the top. I only showed the top, not the bottom. Because I wanted to focus in on that image. Let everybody take that in. So that's what I wanted to put in. And I detailed it a little bit. So if you take a look at that, it's got a little bit of... there's a reason for it. There's a reason for it. So, ooh, there's some squirrels out here. I can feed them some peanuts. Look, it's their Halloween too. There you go. There you go, Walter. Ooh, 2 Walters. Hold on. There you go. You gotta be nice to the squirrels too, after all. Oh, one other thing I want to talk about is something that I don't know how many of you have been up to date with Evernorth and that kind of stuff when it comes to XRP and what's happening there with XRPN on the NASDAQ, how Ripple's treasury is going to go through XRPN now. It was through an acquisition firm. And I really wanted to talk about this today. Let me get this because I got to send this. It's my own. I'm going to have to show you this information so that you can see what I did. And right now you're getting it at the pricing is at the, you're talking about pretty darn low for where it's at. But I'll get into it. I just need to send this to my email so that I can have it. There we go. Okay. So let me put this back on my screen so that I can see it on my TV. Perfect. Sola Jeffy, welcome in. Silver Days, thanks for being in Tom's Army for your first month with the emoji badge and me being abducted by aliens. Crypto Poppy, welcome in. Black Swans after Halloween. Bought 50 shares of XRPN today. Excellent. Yeah, and if you don't know, XRPN, it was listed on the NASDAQ on the 30th. It started off at like $10.70 something, I want to say, when it first came on. But we can't, this is all our history, but then when you go back to the actual chart, you can see after they announced the acquisition and it was a done deal. You see how it came down from 1091, but this is the early stages of this, because this is Ripple's form of doing a treasury. This is Ripple's treasury. It's going to be built here, and it's a way to get exposure to XRP outside of having to hold crypto. So I wanted to go. I'm not going to be able to do it like this. I wanted to just share a little bit of the information on what this all means. But Armada Acquisitions Corp, which is now XRPN, they're the ones who did this. So it's this is a big deal. This is a really big deal. It's going to invoke a lot of capital. It's gonna invoke a ton of capital into the XRP ledger and the ecosystem and things like that. Evernorth. This will be the best way to do it. Just type in, if you're ever looking, just type in Evernorth. And it's that they put $1 billion into this already. So this is through Yahoo Finance. Ripple-backed Evernorth eyes $1 billion IPO to become world's largest XRP treasury company. And right now, it just listed on the NASDAQ, and it's crazy. These blank check mergers, I've been part of these before, these SPACs. And the best one I ever did was I was part of the SpaceX one. And when it merged, when the SPAC happened, it was like $10 or $5, I don't remember, 10, but they 5, 6, 7. Most of them don't go up unless they have purpose. So let me read through this if you don't know. Make sure to hit that like button, as if you're a fan of XRP, you should be very interested in this. This is another way to gain exposure to XRP via the XRP or the Ripple treasury, what they're trying to build. And we are in the ground floor levels here. So Evernorth, backed by digital payments giant Ripple, announced on October 20th that it will list on the NASDAQ through a merger with blank check firm Armada Acquisition Corp. 2. NASDAQ AACI, but the symbol switching to XRPN. Or at least that's what it's going to go under, as you see. The company aims to become the world's first publicly traded XRP treasury, raising over $1 billion to acquire the token tied to Ripple, the 5th largest cryptocurrency by market capitalization. The move signals that major players see an institutional opportunity in XRP, even as skeptics caution against tying equity markets too close to crypto volatility. Evernorth plans to focus exclusively on accumulating XRP ahead of its planned merger, which is expected to close in early 2026. So literally, it's listed. So when I say, and who knows if it's going to go down. But I personally, I had a very strong vision in XRP, and I've held since 34 cents in 23. And I have a very strong vision in where this is going next. And this is just part of our expectation of us not only being listed on the NASDAQ, but becoming part of a U.S. Treasury and more than that. Like, literally, this is the next level to what we've been talking about. You know, Pi, I've heard mentions of it. That's PI. I've been watching a lot about that token. It when it came out, it was over $1, and then it came all the way down to like 20 cents, 10 cents. But I don't know. There's some real purpose there too for some reason, and I can't quite figure it out. So let's finish this. Wall Street has all been blah blah blah. Why did this deal matter for XRP holders? Timing of Evernorth's public market debut isn't coincidental. The announcement comes months after the Securities and Exchange Commission ended a high-profile lawsuit accusing Ripple of selling unregistered securities to institutional investors. With that legal cloud lifted and crypto-friendly Trump administration in office, Ripple is betting big on scaling institutional adoption of XRP in traditional crypto markets. And guess what, guys? A lot of people that don't want to trade crypto, they will acquire XRP through this mean. And when you, oh man, if you don't know what SPAC mergers are, you really need to look it up, because this is like, it's a blank check company. This basically somebody's backing you. And one of the biggest one was a quantum company, and it literally went off the face of the fucking. It started at the exact same around $10, and this thing went berserk. Friggin' insanity. But Scotty Trades, I know you're in here. What do you think about the XRP price in this moment? So the whole point of this is I actually bought some of this, and I bought 1,000 shares at what was it? I don't know. Apparently $10.28 I bought it. So I bought it at, yeah. So I bought 1,000 shares of it. So it cost me $10,285. What I did was I went through my mining stocks last night, and I said, okay, I have 3,222 shares of B2 Gold down to 3,000. Anything that was over 1,000 on Hecla, Fortuna, and First Majestic, I sold it down to 1,000. I sold, what was it? Pan America Silver down to 300 shares and B2 Gold down to 400. They were both just over. Vice versa. I don't remember which one of which. I can't remember which one I hold 3 and which one I hold 4. So I cleared like 28,000 in capital. I had put this on it, and I got 27,000. And now I've got the other 17 to the side right now. I've still got hella commodities that are going to sit there now, but this is just something that was in my heart, and I had a little thought about this, and I've been thinking about it, and I said I'm going to do it strategically here, and this is the right time. So now I'm going to let this sit for as long as it takes, because I don't know how long it's going to take, but like I said, this is early, so if it goes down, I mean, it's just one of those things right now. But yeah, that's just something that I wanted to make sure that I got, and I started talking about, and I didn't forget to show, because it's something that I definitely, yeah, I think so too for now, Scotty. We'll see what happens here, but I'm not too worried now. In the short term, what are you thinking? Like, I'm looking at a pullback area for XRP, and if we have it, that's about all I'm going to spend on XRPN right now, because we're in the early stages, but I will keep talking about it and poaching it every single day, so everybody is aware of it. Good evening. 6:09 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on this Friday, October 31st, 2025. I'm XRP Future Millionaire, and I reside in the great state of Michigan. Happy Halloween, everybody. Like I said, my son's sleeping. Julie's out with Scarlett. $8 range. I don't doubt that. Now in the micro, because obviously we have to talk about the micro here going into the weekend. The good news here, Mr. Scotty, MG in the Telegram, the futures, the CME closed at 257.50. So if you ask me, would it be unreasonable this weekend to try to make a push to 262, my friend? Or maybe that 258 resistance? That is the question I lay out for you with your expertise, my friend. With that beautifully well sought after expertise, that's my question for you. Can we get into that range this weekend? That's an honest question. It's an honest question. Can we get up there this weekend? At least I think we can get to 257 and get up towards that gap area. Bitcoin is at 109. The gap closed at 110,320. So we got about a $700 range to go up even there, Scotty. And the reason why I wanted to acquire that as well is because I believe XRP's got serious price appreciation. You know my target for the short target at $6.39. Once it gets on top of there, we're going to have that move to 7, 8. I do believe XRP is going to see a run from 10 to 20 in its history. Some get mad when I don't want to project outside past that, but I can see a road to $6.39, $8 if you want to talk about the wick off. And then I can see the extension out past 10 if we do the proper wave movement at the right expansion or the right extension. So we'll see how this plays out. Nobody can predict anything. I'm just trying to use the history and the charts. Spot price for Bitcoin, Scotty, right now is 109,679. The CME futures closed at 110,320. XRP's price right now is $2.51.9 on average. The futures closed at $2.57.50 for the CME. It sure is, Scotty. What does the total 3 look like, Crypto Cooter? Great question. And thank you, everybody, for tuning in on this Halloween. I greatly, greatly appreciate all of you. I guess the better question, Scotty, because I know some people are going to be looking to get into leverage this weekend, what would your warnings be? Because for me, I could still see it coming down if we can't push past this $2. I would say that 250. I mean, there's still room over the top, though. That's the issue here. But if we don't get the breakout, I could see us pulling back to maybe, I don't even know if we would go back to 244. See, that's the problem. We got a gift going down to 239-ish. That was a golden gift. It didn't have to come back, or 230. It didn't have to come that far. It overextended through that 241. So, I mean, it doesn't technically need to come back down here. Oh, I agree. I think 270, like, even if we didn't make it to 270, there's no reason why we can't push this top area 264, that old pattern. But I know with the setup like you have it set up, I mean, I'm going to get into the total 3, I promise. I'm going to get into the total 3. I just wanted to make sure to start off with this part of the topic of discussion. Because this is spicy. These are spicy meatballs, ladies and gentlemen. About the spiciest we're going to get. You know, so these are the most, I don't know, there's a lot of stuff adding up here. We got a lot of stuff for XRP in the moment. And it's really getting juicy. Like, I do see a gap opportunity here this weekend, though. Hear me out. With the CME closing at 257.50, even the spot price has the opportunity now for the first time in a while to have upward trajectory with no real resistance above us. Because now we can even out where the futures closed. I mean, this is a good opportunity for the XRP to catch up, but obviously we're still dependent on Bitcoin. But this could be, just from a little bit different looking at this could be a strategic opportunity here developing for some. Crypto Cooter has 18 spicy reasons for XRP to hit 272. Excellent. My words of wisdom with leverage is no more than 2x leverage if you can't formulate a thesis with an exit strategy. Correct. I agree with that. It's one thing to trade 15, 20, 35x. As I said, retail, the average they want to trade is 35x for whatever reason. I think looking at it more and more is because it makes it easier to, let's just say XRP, it costs you $25,000 for 10,000 tokens. Now you can do a 20x if you have what? If you have $2,500, you could do a 10x. If you have $1,250, you could do 20x. If you have $760, you could do 30x, which means if you have somewhere around $650, $700, you could do a 35x, and most people could come up with that. The problem with that is you're looking at like a 2.5% room for error. And that is not very much. That is not very much. So just be cautious, my friends. Joseph Euler, thanks for not only being in Tom's Army for 6+ months with the XP Predictor, but also gifting a sub. And it was received by Peach Fetty. Congratulations on getting the gifted sub for your first month with the emoji badge of me being abducted by aliens. Ken Saunders said, I think Bitcoin will come back down for a 3-base platform at 97. It could very well happen. What I'm strictly talking about here, my friend, is that I think even if we're going to come back down, we've got a little bit of a gap area here between Bitcoin and XRP where we could take advantage, you know, for the start of this weekend and then figure it out as we get closer to 262 area. Especially get back up to 257.5. That left us a lot of room for opportunity here going into the weekend where we don't have to worry about the lower gap. Although we do have like an FVG, we might have to worry about it like 240. I don't remember where it was at. 248, 47-ish. Wow, is that really another gifted sub? What is going on here? Robert Latham, thanks for being in Tom's Army for your first month with the emoji badge of me being abducted by aliens. Gifting some Halloween subs to the community. Songs at Midnight, thanks for now being in Tom's Army for your first month with the emoji badge of me being abducted by aliens. Broncos Co. Yeah. The old Western Michigan Broncos. And George, thanks for being in Tom's Army for over 1 year at the I Told You So Bad. This happens to be my pumpkin guy. Ha 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 ha. Oh, oh. Julie made it for me. Me, T, and Julie were in pumpkins. 3 different kind of pumpkins. I told you, not very many people down at this side of the sub right now. It sucks. I've got about 5 or 6 trick-or-treaters so far. I'll be right back. I want to check on my son. Okay, my son is doing very, very well. Hey, look at that. Always remember peace and love. Yes, XRP Rippers. Oh, I'm so glad to see you in here. Been around for a very long time. XRP Rippers has been here for years. He's got to see the transformation of the XRP community right in the front row. We've got an hour and 42 minutes until the candle closes for Friday for XRP in the spot market. The CME futures has already closed. And we've got almost a 6-cent gap here. So it's pretty interesting. But I'll be interested to see how this weekend plays out. I do think we have a date for Destiny. Like Scotty Trade says, that $2.72 area, that's definitely, that's coming. It's gonna come. And thanks for the 48 CHFs. That's the let's see. I used to know. I know what that one is. Let's see. Gotta remind myself. CHF. Swiss franc. That's right. Is that the Swiss franc? No, I don't know. Is that right? Yeah, Swiss franc. I think that's right. I don't know. What do I know? I think it is the Swiss franc. XRP Rippers, welcome back into Tom's Army for over 1 year with the whoa, what's going on here with the I Told You So badge. And also gifts a sub. Wow. Nico, welcome into Tom's Army for your first month with the emoji badge of me being abducted by aliens. And Aurelie, I haven't forgot about you. Gift a sub for Aurelie. I cannot believe it still hasn't given her one yet. But Nico, welcome so much. Thanks, George. Swiss franc. I thought, but I always forget. 1970 legend, our resident Buckeye in the house. Defending national champions. Are they ever going to get sick of being the #1 team in the land? I don't think so. But I believe they have a chance to go back-to-back. Such a nice guy. I might have to buy him a back-to-back belt if they win. God knows I might be wearing this hat until I'm 75. It's a true story because I was, let's see, 14 when they won it the first time. And then I had to wait until I was 40. I was like 14 and freaking 39 when they won their championship, 25 years apart. So if you just do the math, I'll be 63 the next time. So, but I mean, if you do the math for our resident Buckeye 1970 legend, he'll have like 7 of them by then. But hey, at least we represent the Big Ten and we keep it out of the SEC's hand. It's a good thing Michigan won that one. Otherwise, we don't have much to talk about here. So we beat Ohio State 4 times in a row. It doesn't really matter when they're winning championships after championships and they're the #1 team. But thank you so much for the 5 gifted subs and being in Tom's Army for over 1 year with the I Told You So badge. And also a very trusted mod in here. Helps keep everybody in line. That's what happens when you're a champion. You got the winner's mindset. MB, JP, Thompson, MD Speed, and Ben Weena. Congratulations on getting in the Tom's Army for your first month with the emoji badge and me being abducted by aliens. That is necessary. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Scott, when you going to open up your own copy trading for us vegans? Let's see. Mo, good evening, and thanks for being in Town Zone for over 1 year with the I Told You So badge. And James, thanks for being in Town Zone for 3+ months with the XP Meteor. I think it's built into the algorithm. It really isn't a possibility. I know. It's a shame. It's a damn shame, I tell you. It is a shame. And Crypto Cooter, thanks for being in Town Zone 6+ months with the XP Predictor and a very trusted mod in here and in the telegrams. I certainly was not expecting to get all of these gifted subs for the community. That is spectacular. It's a Halloween. Everybody's happy about Halloween, I suppose. But that makes me really happy that everybody's sharing the generosity with the fellow community members. So let's see. Let's do a realistic take of what we think is going to happen going into the weekend. Could be a little bit of a... Let's see what we got going on here. Overbought in the stochastic in the smaller time frames. Clearing out here. Nice little reversal candle. It looks like possibly in the 45. Came down for that support again. Held there. What I was looking at, I really would like to see, not the 2-hourly, but in the 4-hourly. I'd like to see it clear the space over the weekend and maybe come up to here during the weekend. I kind of want to see this play out going into the weekend. Even if we only come up to 257, maybe we come up to 262-ish. And then we fall back to the CME gap at 257.4, I think it is. But I'd like to see a little run up here this weekend, if I'm being honest. Now, what I want to see, and, you know, what actually happens... Yeah, copy trading, leverage trading. Trading in general might leave you out in the corner of 8 Mile. It really might. Don't leave your nuts too exposed, I suppose. Let's see. There's still opportunity. The funny thing is this weekend really could run up there. But I don't know. Where would the opportunity be to buy in on this candle? I mean, we know we're overextended in the 2-hourly, so could this be where we get that pullback to that 2? I don't know if we'll come all the way to 244. We've already come down here once to 248. Tom, if we run up over the weekend, won't we just come all the way back down? No. We don't need to come all the way back down. We've got a little bit of space here up at $2 and 57.50 because of where the CME closed. So anything under there is, in theory, it's a good deal right now. But you know, we do have the escrow dump, so I would expect some real volatility. There's no doubt about that. I'm not saying not to expect volatility, because I do believe we're going to get a rather large amount of that. How much? I don't know, because we are way overbought right now in the stochastic and the 2-hourly. So if we want to come down, I could see us pushing down for some liquidity and then having to come fill that big gap up at 257. That's what I'm saying. There's a saving grace here. That 257, whoops. That 257.50 it's a good thing because it gives you a guiding stone. That's a good guiding stone. But if you're looking for entry over the weekend, my gut tells me that 240, even 244. I don't know if that would be in play, though. That's kind of far. Could we validate this tap here, maybe farther? Because that does look like a reversal candle here in the 3 hours. It's just working rather slowly. 4-hourly looks like it's pushing the same way, so I could see a little bit of a shuffle here to start the weekend. There's no doubt about that. You know, if you're looking for like a leverage trade, I definitely wouldn't open that right now. I don't even think Scotty Trades would approve that. I think you have to wait. That opportunity was around 239, 243. Give yourself some clearance, but opening one in the 250 range, you could leave yourself upside down rather quickly on a thinly traded weekend. Even knowing that we should come up to 257, no problem. You don't want to leave yourself exposed like that. We have an escrow dump coming at 12. Oh.
Hey, hello.
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 Happy Halloween. Yeah, whatever you want. Take as much as you want.
And don't forget
You're fine.
Alright, bud.
There you go.
Jeez. Take it, man. Thank
Oh,
you.
you're good. You're welcome. Oh, yes, definitely get one for the baby. Oh, you're welcome.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Happy Halloween. All right, that was nice. See, there's some people. It's nice. It's nice to get some people. What were we talking about? Oh yeah, talking about the if you're looking to buy a position. I'm not saying you can't. I'm just saying there's some volatility here, and you know, there's a window. I do think there's a little bit of a window here because we have that gap. I love it because most weekends we're coming in, we're like, oh, we're rising up, and you know, we have a gap, and we're above it, and we know we have to come back below at some point to close it. At least in this scenario, we're below it. You know, when was the last time we were sitting here and we're so far below it at least? It's a good feeling. It's a good feeling. Tom, I lost 8. Wow, good job, my friend. Excellent. Excellent. I know you can't see it in my oversized clothing that I'm wearing today, but I've been on the same path as you, my friend. Same path. Feels good. I love seeing that, my friend. I love seeing that. James went from 300 to 235. Excellent. Let's see the total 3 real quick. Like Crypto Cooter asked me a while ago and I forgot. The total 3 is up 1.25%, just under that $1 trillion mark. I mean, doesn't look crazy bad. I mean, I know we're overextended in the 2 hourly, but who gives a fuck? 3 hourly, 4 hourly. I mean, we came back down and tapped the daily 200. Theoretically, if we did come down, we could back test a little bit farther to somewhere around here, but it would invalidate this little structure to the top side. But if we don't get out of here, I mean, in theory, we could come back down to that 912 and still stay above. Raleigh, I love V-Chain. I'm a big fan of V-Chain. I think when we have a real cycle, V-Chain's going to do really well. I do. I think it's going to do very well, in my opinion. But it always ends up being, where's the actual, where's the point of contention where you're going to buy something? You know, a lot of times, too, it's not even that an asset's not performing. It's just when we buy it at an improper spot. So when we look at it, it clouds our judgment. You wouldn't believe how many people I talk to about XRP that the only reason they hate it is, 1, maybe they didn't buy it at the right time, or 2, they tried to get into it, and what ended up happening was they kept trying to leverage to get the same amount they wanted, and they were losing time and time again. So now XRP became the biggest enemy. Yeah, there's a lot of things that are at historically cheap levels. Total 3 looks good. Total 3 looks like it wants to go to work a little bit. A lot of this looks like it wants to go to work a little bit. You know, it does. We look like we're trying to cook a little bit. I would love to see some upward volatility this weekend. I really would. Oh, yeah, a lot of these are very cheap. A lot of these are very cheap. I want to see how XRP shakes out in the 3 hourly, because I could see a downward candle come here early in this weekend. Get a little shakeout here, especially with the escrow dump happening in about 5 hours and 29 minutes approximately is when it's a potential could start. Yeah, so I want to see how this plays out the early part of the weekend, but I do think we're going to work our way up to that 257 in the 262 and higher at some point here. I think the 257 will be in the very near future. I do. I think there's a gap opportunity. That doesn't mean you might not see a little bit of a downward tug, but let's see. Oh, band. Band's still within the same setup. I mean, it looks really no different than it did before. It's over this 40 cents, but it's still underneath the pattern resistance for the breakout. Eventually, this long term, we'll get over it, but we got a little bit of time still. You know, this could take us into early 26, technically. If we want to... If this is even set up properly on the bottom. I don't know, because last time I looked at this was on my phone. Oops. Yeah, that's just the short area, because this pattern extends out, but where we're trying to break out of this, yeah, that's about right. By January of this year, mid-January. Oh, I know, Frankie Fresh. A lot of people bought, unfortunately, this wick up because we talked about it down when it was down in here, and then it had that huge rally up. A lot of people bought it here, and then we waited, and, you know, like I said, sometimes we get upside down. Then it's hard to get out. But now you're basically, you're waiting for this now. I think it's going to do a lot here. Once the time is right, but that's the hardest thing about these assets. When is the right time? Proton's up 9.3% today, which was nice to see. Real nice to see. Gives me a little bit of encouragement, but like we talked earlier, it had a rather extended push up because it was up like 15. So, I mean, it came back down a little bit. It's not actually cleared into a new high right now for the daily candle, which would in some ways be seen as a failure, but it's still a reversal. But you would like to close above that candle high of last week just to show a little bit of strength. Now it's closed back within the candle. Let's see. What else? Where the gold closed over 4,000 barely, but it's still got retracements to go probably. I don't think anybody's surprised by that. We definitely need. So went through the total and the total three. The others is up 1.65% at 251.6 billion. We're still below a dangerous area though, because we've had a death cross and we're below that resistance. So, you know, we're going to want to at some point retake this. Otherwise, you can always have little spills. Again, though, on the others, the 4 hour looks good. That looks good. That's top heavy momentum on that daily, or the 4 hour candle before. That's a pretty good candle. Oh, really, we do. We definitely do. Yeah, and the crazy thing, crypto, like what you said, crypto, it's so true. And then we often find ourselves, if we buy a good buy and then it goes down a little bit, instead of chasing, we won't chase more tokens when it's cheaper, but just our common mind, like just the way our minds work as humans, we will start to chase when it goes higher, ironically, instead of when it starts to go down, like XRP. If we missed it and you were really going to buy it at 255, let's just say, and now it came down to 251, now let's just say it reverses, you'd be afraid to buy it at 251, but more than willing at 255, and then you might dip in at 258, a full 7 cents higher, just human psychology. It's so weird. Or if you bought up here, now all of a sudden if it keeps going down, you're afraid to buy more, but you're willing at 255, but then at 244, you're like, no, I can't do it. It's going to fall off a cliff. So the human psychology is a real dangerous man. I always say that too, Scotty. Trades never more than 2%. So that means if you have $2,000 in your account, you're basically allowed $40. I don't make the rules. Well, in this case, I do. But if you had $10,000 You know, I tell people you can bet $200 if you have a, you know, it's not a lot. I mean, fart coin is what it is. Some people did very well with it. I'm just like you know, Scotty. There's only so many tokens you can actually look at from a real deep standpoint. We're in need for a small correction here, though. There's no doubt about it. It would be a perfect time to do this right before the escrow. The escrow dumps, the price drops down real quick, it gets bought and back up, blah blah blah. It could be a perfect time for this. I remember 247 for Scotty was talking about that area earlier. I like it. I could even see 244, honestly. I don't necessarily think it needs to come down that far. I think 247 makes more sense from a structural standpoint. Really, oh yeah, XDC's in a great spot. But look at even with XRP in the 30-minute, look how that's having like that little bit of a sporadic downward in the RSI. That's good. You've definitely got a divergence. Even in the 30, you got upward price action and downward on the stochastic. That's a hidden divergence there as well. I don't know if anybody sees that. That's extremely bull. This is extremely bullish. So look for it to tap this trend again. The trend is your friend, remember? The trend is your friend. And right now I believe that that's a hidden divergence here. We've got upward price action. I mean, I guess you don't have to call it a hidden divergence, but we definitely got a divergence here. This is in the small time frame, so this could yield, you know, big potential here in the short term. Look at this. That's a falling support. Like the RSI is falling as the price action's rising. There's a divergence there. Whew, I like that a lot. That means with this, so basically, even though the price is appreciating, in the stochastic in the 30 minutes, it's actually cleaning itself out. It's actually going back to oversold, which means even though there's price appreciation, we're still technically making ourselves stronger for a further move up. So we're diverging right now. Technically, that should be trailing in the same direction. When you have falling action, you should have falling price and falling stochastic. When you have rising price, you should have rising stochastic. If you have the opposite, you can either have a bearish or bullish divergence. In this case, it looks like a hidden bullish divergence because you would definitely have to seek this information out from a indicator standpoint. Are they doing this? What other time frames is this happening in? I remember we've seen this before. Honestly, I don't eat a lot of candy, but I think I'm going to eat a piece of candy. Today's the exception to the rule. I'm going to eat candy. Ooh, look at this one. Where the hell is the piece I want? Ah, here we go. This Reese's one. We'll definitely have one. Cheers, everybody. Since I've had all of 9 trick-or-treaters. No, 10. 1970 Legend, thank you for the $9.99 donation. Already did 5 gifted subs today. Andy's in Tom's Army for over a year. What a guy. I think he just feels sorry for the Wolverine fans. That's okay, though. What do you think of H4 by the end of the year? I don't really like to do end-of-year predictions, my friend. Because then, no matter what, you can't be right. But, I mean, if we end up going on the streak we're supposed to, you could very well see us up around 30 cents by the end of the year, if not more. This isn't going to be this cheap for much longer. This is one of those tokens that it's not going to be this cheap much longer. It's just not. This is another one. It's got its own ETF. It's got massive utility. Massive. It's another one I put into its own category like XDC and IOTA and all the bunch, XRP. It's got its own category. This is not going to stay this cheap forever. 20 cents is still dirt cheap for this token. It really is. I know we were buying it at 5 cents and yada. It doesn't matter. It's still where it's going. We got this little bit of, this is the pattern we've been building, and it's just been in it for ages, it feels like. At least at the back end. So, I mean, that doesn't look so bad to me. I mean, you could find yourself... If we get hot by the end of the year, I could see us up here at 35. But in a more reasonable scenario, I could see us pushing out towards 25 by the end of the year. Maybe 35. But, I mean, reasonably, we should be at over a quarter. If we end up taking this trajectory. Now, if we go the other way, and they end up pulling a fast one in December, here's my only thing. In December, they could pull a fast one, and even if we get a nice rise in November, if the Fed pulls a fast one and raises rates, which I don't think they're going to, but there's a 16% chance right now, according to analytics. And that would just be to crash the top end of the market. And if that happens, oh boy, is Q1 going to be volatile in our way, in a good way. Because they're going to lower rates so quick in January once the top fucking falls off. And you see the whole food stamps debacle. There's a couple judges that are saying that they have to give out food stamps. Unfortunately, there's no money in that part of the budget. So you can pay all you want and say you got to give out these food stamps. There ain't no money in the budget. That's why I always tell people, don't rely on the government. There's extenuating circumstances, but somehow, some way, you've got to find it within yourself. In the modern era where you don't even have to do physical labor, you got to find a way, you know, because the government, it's going to happen. And we're about to have chaos here starting tomorrow. Food stamps cut off tonight. Anybody who's looking for them to renew tomorrow, it ain't happening unless they do some bullshit. But there ain't no money. This country's $41 trillion in debt. There is no money. Frankie Fresh Algo, another one that's in a great setup. Long term, this setup is beautiful to me. And like we didn't know how this is setting up. Now it's starting to show us a little bit more like this, but we were just making guesses. And I'm always up front. We don't know how these patterns are set up just quite yet. Because we can do the wick off and all that and the waves and all that. But we still need to see the general pattern setup so we can see, you know, how it stacks up. Oh, you're welcome, Frankie. You're welcome, my friend. Give Janine my love as well. For anybody that doesn't know, that's Frankie Fresh's significant other. Yeah, Shane, that was the area. It very well might fill that for you. I could see it coming down to 247 area. I know Scotty Trades talked about that area earlier. I like that area a lot. I got to get a water, but I like that area a lot if it's going to come down. How cool is this, all of us doing a Halloween live together? 98 of us in here. I didn't know there's going to be that many people here. But I might take a play here. If it comes down to 247, I may expand on the play a little bit here. That means add a little bit here. I had a little bit of a play from 243 up, but I'm out of that play already. Because I wanted to see how it would. I really thought it would come down near either 247 or 244. But I'm trying to see this little bit of the algorithm here, and it's important for this, I think, to come down into that area. Crypto Sniper claims that Exxon is wound like a tight spring, which could skyrocket all the way up to $14. Well, Crypto Sniper is quite wound up if he thinks it's going to surpass XRP to 14 before XRP gets to 14. Now, it is wound up. It is absolutely wound up like a freaking Band-Aid. Or like a rubber band, just like XDC is. That's why I have over 20,000 tokens of XLM for when the time actually happens. And XDC over 125,000 or so. Definitely wound up like a son of a gun. If it continues down, and XLM filled that gap. We don't even need to talk about that anymore. We had it at 31.7. Actually, you know what? Why don't I have that on here right now? I should just have that on here because they have their own futures. I believe. Excellent. I thought they had their own because I had it on there. Plus, I had to look outward. I don't remember. Maybe they don't. Maybe I had to look at the other. I had to look outward for that. Well, that sucks. I guess futures contract, but that's not what I want. Let's see. I would like to see a little liquidity tuck here, like a little liquidity drag down. I would. I really would. But I'm going to end this in a minute because I want to get ready for when Julie gets back with Scarlett. I don't want to be blocking their walkway. Yeah, so I had fun here, though. I had a lot of fun with everybody during this live. I'm gonna go back and check everything out and do what I gotta do as a dad. Make sure T's sleeping peacefully and all this good stuff. But yeah, pay attention to what we've been saying during this live. Be blessed, everybody. Thank you all so much for the unbelievable support. And we'll be back before you know it. I really, really appreciate all of you. Enjoy the rest of your Halloween. Be generous, be courteous, be spiritual, and also be gracious. Just be gracious and show humility. Be blessed, and I really, 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 really appreciate everybody. But yeah, that'll do it, everybody. Thank you.